Hello, and welcome to Storytime Sunday. Today we will be reading from On the North Trail, the Treaty 8 Diary of O.C. Edwards, turning to page number 61. June 16th. This evening, the treaty business of this place being over, we embarked on a raft for Vermilion, a place 300 miles further down the Peace. A commodious raft is a splendid way of travel on a fast-flowing river like the Peace, and as the water is rising quickly, our progress will be accelerated. A pilot is necessary. At the landing, the river is 660 yards wide and increases in width as one descends. It is full of magnificent islands, but the pilot is necessary to ensure the proper channel. At the heads of many of the islands, huge collections of driftwood piled high up when the water is at its highest are to be observed. We had not gone more than 5 miles down the river when 2 of these dangerous drift piles had to be avoided by rowing. The pilot told me 2 Indian children were buried on one of the islands. Some years ago, an Indian was taking his family down the river, and for some unaccountable reason, made 2 rafts, placing the 2 children on one raft while he and the mother went on a second. The swift current bore the raft having the children on board directly into the drift pile, and they were drowned. We have magnificent high banks, 600 or 800 feet high on either side and well wooded. The river is tortuous, and the evening sun, striking upon these vast verdant hills, presents an ever-changing panorama to the eye. This evening the flies were not bad, and we could enjoy it to the full. June 17th. A nasty, wet day causing much discomfort in our limited space, and the mosquitoes, bulldog and sandflies simply torture us. One has to be protected night and day by netting or life would be almost unbearable. The dark-skinned people, pure and half-breeds, must have thick cuticle, as these flies seem to give them little trouble, but the thin-skinned white man is simply pursued. As I get into bed at night, I take my hat with its mosquito netting attached along with me and have it ready for the morning. When I wake, I find hundreds of mosquitoes humming around my netting, thirsty for my blood. And before I lift the netting to come out, I put on my hat and fasten the netting well around my throat. Then as quick as possible, draw on a pair of thick gloves, thin ones are of no use, and get into your clothes with lightning speed and dash out and complete your toilet outside, where possible a wind is blowing. These mosquito bars, as they are called, in this North Country are a grand institution. If one of these were not used, sleep at nighttime would be impossible. But I think I have described these before, so I will say no more about it. But to express again what I feel every morning, gratitude and admiration to the man or woman who first devised these sensible protection against these enemies of our existence. June 18th. Reached a place called Wolverine Point at 8 o'clock this morning. There's a small half-breed colony here, and we tied here to transact business. The rain had ceased, though the clouds were still heavy and lowering. As we drifted towards the point, we noticed here and there little houses belonging to the half-breeds. A few rifle shots were fired off by one of our men, and when someone shouted on the bank, a conversation followed in Cree between our interpreter and the breed. "Are you a trading outfit?" came from the bank. And then our present appearance explained an invitation to follow to the point where applicants for scrip or treaty could be dealt with. Soon canoes catch us up, with men and women and children packed in them. In such cranky, crazy crafts did anyone ever before see. A short, narrow, tautlish dugout and the edge of the canoe within 2 inches of the water, and yet they sit on the water like ducks. After breakfast, the applicants for scrip begin their wearied work, for wearisome and almost impossible it is for these poor people, who never bother their memories with such things. Tell the names of their parents and of each and every living and dead child, and the place and date of the birth and death. They often have to call in friends and relatives to help them out, and they have been so prolific. My duty is to vaccinate the children who tumble one after the other over the bank and present their dirty arms. I always provide myself with water and absorbent cotton before I begin this work. A path to the cuticle has mostly always to be made first. I also visit a nice clean teepee and see sick women and prescribe for a couple of men with that trouble of troubles among Indians, indigestion. These half-breeds are great moose hunters, and inside the teepee I find 2 men eating their dinner, and that dinner consists of cooked moose meat and tea and salt. Nothing else. The left hand is used in conveying a big piece of meat to the mouth. If the piece is extra large, it is not divided on the plate, but after is grasped by the jaws in the right hand with a pocket knife, The right hand, with a pocket knife or sheath knife, is brought quickly across in front of the mouth and the large portion divided. These teepees, or conical tents on poles sloping to a point upward, are made of duck. The cooking in the center thoroughly permeates the meshes of the duck with smoke, and this acts as a preventative to the mosquitoes. You find none in the teepees. All these people, though they ordinarily live in good houses, sensibly abandon these during the summer months and live in teepees. In the afternoon, we dropped downstream 4 or 5 miles and tied up at the mouth of a small river to try and do some fishing, but none were got, or any game. This river is a lonely river, devoid of animal or bird life, and if a man was to float down this river and live on his gun or rifle, he would starve. We are told it is great moose country. Possibly it is, but we have seen nothing. June 19th. At noonday, we loose the lines and get out in the current and float all day and enjoy the evening. And ditto ditto. June 20th. A small cub bear was seen from the raft today and fired at and missed. So much the better for the bear. June 21st. We tied up at the lower end of an island last evening, as we did not wish to arrive at Vermilion until the very evening of this day, and we remained where we were tied up until 3 in the afternoon. We are now only 6 miles from our objective point. As there was a good breeze, we were entirely free of flies of any kind, a condition of affairs much enjoyed. Captain Worsley came up to our raft at noon and took lunch with us and accompanied us down. A strong south wind was blowing when we left camp, and much hard rowing was required as we wished to land on the south bank of the river, and the wind is driving us the other shore. In fact, when we were within a mile of the Hudson's Bay post and had almost reached the foot of an island which is above the post, it was thought wise to tie up and send for a large boat to bring us ashore. Had we passed the foot of the island, the strong wind and strong current would have carried our raft away past the proper landing place. Everything being transferred to the boat, we made a good landing just below the Hudson's Bay post. Our camping place is the best we have had since we left Dunvegan. It is a terrace bank 35 feet above the water, clean grass and a large cultivated field between us and the everlasting bush, so that we are comparatively free of that pest of life, the flies. Tonight, our camp, consisting of 5 tents, is pitched with regularity with the flag post immediately in front of the center tent. The view towards the river is delightful. We cannot see the opposite shore, as there is a well-wooded island immediately opposite us. The sun sinks to its shortest rest in front of us, so that I presume the direction of the river is north and south. A snippet of On the North Trail, the Treaty 8 Diary of O.C. Edwards. See you next time.